Captain Sarah Chen stood in the massive hangar of the Galactic Defense Force headquarters, staring at what was supposed to be humanity's ticket to the stars. The vessel before her could generously be called a battleship, though space-worthy debris might have been more accurate. Its hull was a patchwork of different materials, bearing the scars of countless repairs across multiple centuries. "This is the GDF Twilight," announced High Commander Zex Thrax, their mandibles clicking with barely concealed amusement. "The last remaining Horizon-class battleship from the Second Galactic War. It's yours." Sarah maintained her composure, though her jaw clenched slightly. After 15 years of petitioning to join the Galactic Defense Force, humanity had finally been granted admission. With a catch. They would be given command of the oldest, most dilapidated vessel in the fleet. The message was clear. Humans were being set up to fail. "We appreciate the opportunity, High Commander," Sarah replied diplomatically. Behind her, her crew of 30, Earth's finest engineers, scientists, and military personnel, began their preliminary inspection of the ship. Their faces remained neutral, but their eyes sparkled with curiosity rather than disappointment. The High Commander's assistant, a Proxian named Velikar, floated forward on their anti-gravity pad. "The ship's primary systems are functional," they said, consulting a holographic display. "Though we recommend minimal stress on the quantum drive. The weapons systems are mostly original, and the shield generators operate at roughly 40% capacity." Dr. James Rodriguez, Earth's leading quantum physicist, ran his hand along a section of the hull. "Interesting alloy composition," he muttered, taking readings with his tablet. "Never seen anything quite like it." The alien officials exchanged glances as the humans swarmed over the ship like eager engineers rather than insulted representatives. This wasn't the reaction they had expected. "You have one standard cycle to prepare the vessel for basic certification," Zex Thrax announced. "If you fail to meet minimum operational standards, your admission to the GDF will be reconsidered." As the alien delegation departed, Sarah gathered her crew. The excitement in their eyes matched her own. "All right, people. They think they've handed us a death trap. Let's show them what humanity does best." Over the next few days, the true extent of the ship's condition became clear. The quantum drive leaked radiation, the life support systems needed constant monitoring, and the weapons systems were so outdated they might as well have been firing slingshots. But where others saw obsolescence, the human crew saw a possibility. Dr. Rodriguez made the first breakthrough. "Captain, come look at this," he called from deep within the ship's engineering section. The entire superstructure is laced with some kind of crystalline lattice. It's unlike anything in our database. Sarah studied the strange, faintly glowing crystals that seemed to pulse in sync with the ship's power systems. "The aliens never mentioned this." "Because they probably thought it was decorative," Rodriguez grinned. "But these crystals, they're not just pretty lights. They're quantum resonators, Captain. Incredibly sophisticated ones. I think they're part of some kind of integrated system that the original builders developed, but later generations couldn't understand or replicate it." Lieutenant Maya Patel, their systems specialist, joined them. "That explains some of the weird power fluctuations I've been seeing. The ship's trying to route energy through these crystals, but the modern systems aren't configured to work with them." Sarah felt a smile spreading across her face. "So what you're telling me is that we've been given a ship that's not actually obsolete, just misunderstood." "More than that," Rodriguez said, his eyes shining with possibility. "If we can figure out how to interface with this crystal network, we might be able to push this ship far beyond its original specifications. The aliens didn't give us a death trap, Captain. They gave us a quantum computer disguised as a battleship." As word spread through the crew, the atmosphere shifted from determination to excitement. They weren't just fixing up an old ship anymore. They were unlocking the secrets of an advanced civilization that had been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Sarah sent teams to map every crystal cluster in the ship, while others began developing interfaces to tap into their power. The aliens had given them the twilight expecting humiliation. Instead, they had handed humanity the keys to a technological revolution. As the first week drew to a close, Sarah stood on the bridge of the twilight, watching her crew work with tireless enthusiasm. The ship was still ugly on the outside, still bore its scars and patches. But beneath that battered exterior, something extraordinary was awakening. The aliens thought they were teaching humanity its place in the galaxy. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength was finding potential where others saw only limitations. The Twilight's engineering bay had transformed into a makeshift research lab. Holographic displays showed real-time data from the crystal network, while dozens of interface prototypes littered the workbenches. Dr. Rodriguez hadn't slept in 36 hours, but his eyes remained bright as he studied the latest test results. The crystals aren't just conductors, he explained to Captain Chen, pointing to a complex energy pattern. They're amplifiers. Each one can multiply the energy passing through it exponentially, but they've been operating at less than 1% capacity because no one understood how to properly interface with them. Lieutenant Pottle emerged from beneath a console, her uniform stained with coolant. We've managed to integrate our quantum processors with 3 crystal clusters. The ship's computational power has increased by a factor of 50, and that's just from the preliminary connections. The ship's systems had begun responding to their modifications. Lights flickered with new intensity, and the ever-present hum of the quantum drive had shifted to a deeper, more resonant frequency. Even the artificial gravity felt more stable. How long until the certification test? Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. 3 days, Paddle replied. The aliens are expecting us to barely pass basic flight capabilities. They have no idea what's coming. The crew had made a collective decision to keep their discoveries quiet. As far as the Galactic Defense Force knew, they were simply conducting basic repairs and systems checks. The truth was far more revolutionary. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their quantum mechanics specialist, had discovered that the crystal network extended into the ship's hull. The entire outer structure is one massive quantum field generator, she revealed. When properly energized, it could create defensive capabilities far beyond conventional shields. The breakthrough came during the second week. While testing the crystal interface, Rodriguez's team accidentally triggered a dormant subroutine in the ship's original operating system. Ancient data streams, untouched for centuries, began flowing through the quantum network. It's a manual, Rodriguez breathed, watching as alien schematics filled their screens. The original builders left instructions, but they're encoded in the quantum state of the crystals themselves. No wonder later generations couldn't access them. They were looking for traditional data storage. Sarah watched as her crew deciphered the ancient knowledge. The Twilight had been more than just a warship. It was a prototype for a new class of vessels that could manipulate quantum fields on a massive scale. The technology had been lost not because it failed, but because it had been too advanced for its time. The ship's weapon systems, previously dismissed as outdated, took on new significance. What appeared to be simple energy cannons were actually quantum field projectors, designed to work in concert with the crystal network to create localized distortions in spacetime itself. They weren't weapons in the traditional sense, Tanaka explained, excitement clear in her voice. They were meant to contain and redirect energy at a quantum level. The later modifications actually reduced their capabilities because no one understood their true purpose. As the certification deadline approached, the crew worked around the clock to implement their discoveries. They maintained the ship's worn exterior, a deliberate choice to keep their improvements hidden. Inside, however, the Twilight was becoming something unprecedented. The night before the test, Sarah found Rodriguez still working in the engineering bay. He looked up as she approached, his expression serious. "Captain, there's something you need to see." He pulled up a new set of readings from the crystal network. "We thought we were just reactivating old systems, but it's more than that. The crystals are adaptive. They're learning from our modifications, evolving in response to our understanding of them. This ship isn't just getting more powerful, it's becoming something entirely new. Sarah considered the implications. The aliens had given them this ship as a gesture of contempt, never suspecting that humanity's fresh perspective and willingness to question assumptions would unlock its true potential. They had handed humanity the keys to a technological revolution, all because they were too convinced of their own superiority to look deeper. "Keep this quiet for now," she ordered. "Tomorrow, we show them just enough to pass their test. But after that," she smiled, looking at the softly pulsing crystals that ran through the ship like veins. "After that, we show them what humanity can really do." As she walked back to her quarters, Sarah felt the ship's energy thrumming through the deck plates. The Twilight had been sleeping for centuries, waiting for someone who could understand its secrets. Tomorrow would mark the beginning of a new era, not just for humanity, but for the entire galaxy. The certification test began precisely as the aliens expected, with barely concealed disdain. A panel of GDF officials watched from their observation vessel as the Twilight prepared for its evaluation. High Commander Zex Thrax's voice crackled over the comm system, heavy with anticipated satisfaction. "Begin with basic maneuvering tests. Try not to strain your vessel too much." Sarah exchanged knowing looks with her bridge crew. Lieutenant Puthill sat at the helm, her fingers dancing over the crystalline interface they'd integrated into the controls. The ship's response was deliberately sluggish, exactly what the observers expected from an ancient vessel. Maintaining minimal power output, Rodriguez reported from engineering, playing his part perfectly. Crystal network operating at 5% capacity. The Twilight lumbered through the prescribed course, its movements careful and measured. Energy readings showed exactly what the aliens expected, a struggling old ship barely meeting minimum standards. But beneath the surface, power surged through the crystal lattice, waiting to be unleashed. Everything changed when the proximity alerts blared. Multiple ships dropping out of quantum space, Lieutenant Commander Jack Hayes announced from Tactical. Reading energy signatures. Pirates. Looks like a Drachnid raiding party. The observation vessel's shields snapped up as 5 sleek, predatory ships materialized around them. The pirates were opportunists, drawn to what appeared to be easy prey. An obsolete vessel and a single GDF observer ship. "This test is suspended," Zex Thrax declared. "We will handle this situation. Captain Chen, withdraw your vessel tow." "Belay that," Sarah interrupted, her voice steady. "This is GDS space. We have a duty to protect it." She looked at her crew. Time to show them what the Twilight can really do. "Dr. Rodriguez, bring the crystal network to full power." The change was immediate and dramatic. The ship's sluggish movements transformed into fluid grace as the quantum field generators activated at full capacity. Energy coursed through the crystal lattice, and the formerly dim corridors blazed with brilliant light. By the eternal void, one of the alien observers whispered as their sensors registered the Twilight's true power signature. "What have they done?" The pirate vessels opened fire, energy beams lancing toward both ships. The Twilight's quantum field flared to life, not just deflecting the attacks but absorbing them. The crystal network pulsed with captured energy, redirecting it through pathways that had laid dormant for centuries. "Target the lead vessel," Sarah ordered. "Show them what these outdated weapons can really do." Lieutenant Hayes activated the quantum field projectors. What appeared to be a simple energy blast was actually a precisely controlled distortion in spacetime. It struck the pirate ship's shields and simply passed through them, the quantum field negating their very existence. The vessel's engines went dark as its power systems were disrupted at the quantum level. "By the stars," Zex Thrax breathed. "That's impossible." The remaining pirates, realizing their mistake, attempted to flee. But the Twilight, now fully awakened, moved with impossible speed. The crystal network had transformed the ancient vessel into something that defied conventional physics. One by one, the pirate ships were disabled, their systems shut down by precisely targeted quantum field disruptions. In engineering, Rodriguez worked frantically to maintain stability as the crystal network exceeded even their most optimistic predictions. "The crystals are evolving faster than ever," he reported. "They're learning from every action, every response. The ship is becoming more efficient with each passing second." The entire engagement lasted less than 5 minutes. When it was over, 5 disabled pirate vessels hung motionless in space, their crews alive but powerless. The twilight hovered between them and the observation ship, its crystal network pulsing with contained energy. Sarah opened a channel to the stunned GDF officials. "High Commander, we stand ready to assist with the detention of these criminals. Though I suppose this means we'll need to reschedule our certification test." The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Zekthrak spoke, their voice carrying a mix of shock and dawning respect. I believe you have more than demonstrated your capabilities, Captain Chen, though I suspect you have significant explaining to do." As the GDF began securing the captured pirates, Sarah knew their quiet period of development was over. The galaxy would soon know that humanity had not just restored the twilight, they had revolutionized it. The real challenge would be managing the political fallout from their achievement. "Send a priority message to Earth Command," she instructed Hayes. Tell them we've woken something up out here. And I don't just mean the ship." The Twilight's crystal network pulsed in harmony with her words, its power now impossible to hide. Humanity had been given a cast-off, a relic meant to humble them. Instead, they had unlocked secrets that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The age of quantum ships had begun anew, and this time, humanity would lead the way. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every spacefaring race gathered to witness the unprecedented emergency session. At the center of attention stood Captain Sarah Chen and Dr. Rodriguez, facing the assembled dignitaries with calm determination. The revelation of the Twilight's true capabilities had sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Some races called for immediate sanctions against humanity, claiming they had weaponized forbidden technology. Others demanded access to the crystal network's secrets, insisting such power couldn't remain in the hands of newcomers. High Commander Zekthrax raised their ceremonial staff, silencing the chamber. "We have gathered to address not just the Twilight situation, but a grave threat to our entire civilization. The quantum anomalies we've detected at the galaxy's edge are expanding. Our best scientists project total collapse of affected regions within days. Holographic displays showed the spreading darkness, regions of space where normal physics simply ceased to function. Conventional ships couldn't approach without their systems failing. Entire solar systems had already gone dark. The anomalies are quantum rifts," Rodriguez explained, pointing to his data models. "They're creating cascading failures in the fabric of space-time itself. But we believe the Twilight's crystal network was originally designed to handle exactly this kind of phenomenon." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Sarah stepped forward. "The original builders of our ship weren't just creating weapons. They were developing technology to stabilize quantum fluctuations on a massive scale. The weapons were just a byproduct of their true purpose. And you expect us to trust humanity with this responsibility?" A Meridian delegate challenged. "Your species only reached the stars a generation ago." "Perhaps that's exactly why we should trust them," Zekthrax interjected, surprising everyone. Their fresh perspective allowed them to see what we had overlooked for centuries. Our own prejudices blinded us to the Twilight's true purpose. The debate raged for hours, but as reports of the spreading anomalies grew dire, the Council had no choice. The Twilight was humanity's greatest hope, perhaps the galaxy's only hope. Preparations moved swiftly. The ship's crystal network had continued to evolve. Guided by the quantum patterns the human crew had helped it learn. As they approached the largest anomaly, the Twilight systems pulsed with unprecedented power. "Crystal network at full capacity," Rodriguez reported from engineering. "The quantum field is responding exactly as the original builder's data suggested it would. We can do this." Sarah stood on her bridge, watching the swirling darkness ahead. Begin the containment sequence. Lieutenant Patel, take us in. The twilight moved gracefully into the chaos, its quantum field expanding to create a bubble of stable spacetime around it. The crystal network glowed brilliantly, each cluster working in perfect harmony to hold back the tide of quantum destruction. Initiating the resonance pulse, Rodriguez announced. The ship's quantum field projectors, once thought to be crude weapons, fired in a precise pattern. The energy wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to heal. The anomaly's chaotic patterns began to shift, responding to the twilight's influence. The crystal network sang with power as it established a quantum framework, guiding the fractured spacetime back into stability. Hours passed as the ship worked its way through the rift, mending the fabric of reality itself. The crew worked tirelessly, making constant adjustments as the crystal network evolved to meet each new challenge. This was what the ship had been built for, not war, but preservation. Finally, the last remnants of the anomaly collapsed in on themselves, leaving normal space in their wake. The twilight emerged triumphant, its crystal network pulsing with a gentle, steady light. Quantum readings returning to normal across all affected regions, Hayes reported, his voice heavy with exhaustion and pride. "We did it, Captain. We actually did it." Sarah opened a channel to the anxiously waiting council. The threat has been neutralized. The Twilight's original purpose has been fulfilled, not by force, but by understanding. In the days that followed, everything changed. The Council formally recognized humanity's unique contribution to galactic civilization. The Twilight became not just a ship, but a symbol of innovation and cooperation. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers to understand the crystal network's full potential, sharing knowledge freely. But perhaps the greatest change was in perspective. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson about prejudice and potential. Sometimes, the greatest discoveries come not from power or tradition, but from fresh eyes and open minds willing to see possibility where others see only limitations. The Twilight, once a cast-off meant to humble humanity, had become a bridge between civilizations. Its crystal network continued to evolve, guided by the combined wisdom of multiple species, and in the ship's log, Sarah made one final entry. "They gave us their worst, expecting failure. We gave them our best, achieving the impossible. That's the human way, not to prove others wrong, but to prove ourselves right. The galaxy is vast, but innovation knows no bounds when we dare to question, to explore, and to dream."